On occasion, KLab likes to do a little bit of cash grab when it comes down to the kind of content that they like to put out. Every single time that we have gotten something new, it's usually locked off behind the necessity for new characters, new functions of the game, hence Transcendence, and Riddler. One of my boys from the Reddit side, he has actually compiled literally everything that I've been thinking about in terms of the new content that we've been getting lately, and he's put it in a nice little package. Now we're gonna go over that, and then we will give then I'll put my own like 2 cents and like spin on things. This is gonna be a relatively long video, so I apologize in advance just because I don't understand that not many people are gonna be interested in that. However, yeah, let's just get right into it. 残火の太刀来た天地開人 Alright, so this is the Reddit post. If you want to look it up, the link will be in the description down below. Feel free to check that out right away. And yeah, so without further ado, let's just get into this. Transcendence Zone and Simulated Difficulty. So Transcendence Zone is out, and my god, I just need to talk about it a little bit. But first I wanted to put this at the top since it'll probably be a long post and I don't want it lost down below. Dodge rate in Transcendence Zone is set at 80%. Keep in mind, not every single mob is 80%, but there are between 33 to 80%. Usually the little rabbit enemies, they have like 80%. It's really annoying, but it's not broken, it's just annoying, right? So we're gonna get into that in a little bit. Not every mob has it, usually around 1 to 2 per wave, sometimes as many as 4, but that's still a ridiculous amount of dodge rate. Anyways, back to the post proper. KLab has had this nasty habit brewing for a little while now where they take something and add restrictions to it in excess, be it bonus rules or bonus characters, and most of the time it's not too invasive. Like, yeah, I don't particularly enjoy having such a small bonus list for ER, but it can be refreshing at times. Never once would I have thought to use Heart Loopy seriously, but now that I'll be using him for the next 2 months in the Kenny Epic Raid, he's actually a decently fun unit to play. So like, I honestly don't really have a problem with these bonus lists for epic raids anymore. I understand that a lot of people still find it very restricting. I myself find it a little too restrictive. However, it used to actually be significantly worse. Like when epic raids first came out, it was damage times 3 and metal plus 50%. So you actually had to use a bonus character. After they took down they didn't take down epic raids, but after the restriction expansion, I suppose, like they actually lowered the boss's health by 33%. They changed the damage multiplier from 3 to times 2, and they lowered and they actually added an entirely new section for damage times 1.5 units. So that way a character that isn't bonus still can actually deal damage. Like at the end of the day, a character that isn't bonus is dealing half the damage of these guys, like the main damage, the damage bonus units, as opposed to dealing 1/3 of the damage. So it was a really big deal having these bonus units back in the day, and I felt like it was way too disgusting of KLab to actually release it in that fashion. So moving on to the next portion. And when Senkaimon first dropped, I loved it. Being able to use a ton of characters I'd not used in ages and have them be good at something in a meaningful way is really cool. That being said, sometimes KLab takes it way too far. Ordeals floor 20 is one of the most blatantly obvious examples of this. No longer were the restrictions making the floor unique or challenging, they were designed in such a way that if you didn't have Red Eisen, you were going to have a rough time with it. There was nothing engaging about resetting for an hour or more with Xmas Lisa or TLA Shinji to get a nearly perfect run to be able to beat the floor. This is Tower of Ordeals floor 20, where the restrictions are it had to be it's like damage times 2 for red units, and it had to be a hollow unit. Like you couldn't go in without a hollow unit. So you were having a significantly harder time. This was before Transcendence. This was before dupes were really even important. So because of Transcendence, right? So like for those that aren't aware, TLA Shinji was probably one of the better units to use, and you still had to proc his burn with his special move in order to make it work. Like you see here, he's not joking, to get a nearly perfect run to be able to beat the floor. Like one of my boys literally used to do this run with TLA Shinji for various people because people just weren't able to actually clear this run. It was really overwhelming for a lot of people, and honestly, this was also 2 months after Red Eisen even came out for the first time ever, which means he wasn't in the filler pool. He wasn't readily available. Sure, he was in the premium pool, but like that didn't really mean much because like you weren't able to get the character in a reasonable fashion. Okay, this like this. I'm not even joking. This was literally like 2 to 3 months after Red Eisen even came out. Alright, so you'll actually see here Senkaizen versus Floor 20. This is February 6, 2019, when he's actually trying out different strategies. This is before Transcendence. Transcendence came out December 2019. And you'll see here, January 8th, 2019, Mind Shinji versus Floor 20. This is January 8th. So keep that in mind, because the banner for Red Aizen actually came out November 30th, 2018, right? So you only had, if you didn't pull the character at the end of the month on the main banner, where the rates were actually already pretty bad, considering that we didn't have step-ups back then, so we're underprivileged kids, bro. And you'll see here, you need at least one burn proc. He even puts that in the beginning of the video. You need at least one burn proc in order to actually beat Aizen. And even with a near perfect run, you'll see that he still only has 1 minute to actually beat this Aizen. You'll see the type of damage you're dealing. Keep in mind that this is my boy Urahara, who has like a godly account at the time, right? You need to proc burn. You'll see the lack of damage that he's actually doing to this Aizen, just because just if you don't have Red Aizen, you need this. And you'll see the views on these videos. Like, this was incredibly helpful for a lot of people. 18,000 views, 21,000 views, 27,000 views. Like, these actually were incredibly helpful for the community, because you weren't able to just naturally clear. That's why I was really grateful that I actually pulled him on his banner, because no one knew that he was going to be necessary for Tower of Ordeals. When the stage becomes overwhelmingly difficult or annoying due to restrictions meant to cater towards specific units, and by having a specific unit, everything becomes a cakewalk, that's not real difficulty. Heavy restrictions like this are, simply put, simulated difficulty. Now, for those that have played Skyrim, you know exactly what simulated difficulty is, because you experience that when it comes to the difficulty of the actual game. If you played on incredibly hard, you weren't fighting a smarter boss, you were fighting a boss with like 300 times the HP. That's not really hard, just now you have to dodge more, now you have to hit the enemy more. Hopefully you have enough resources with your bow and arrow, or like your mana, in order to actually finish off what you're trying to even fight, right? So like that, for example, is a good example of simulated difficulty. Like something just becoming harder just because they decide to slap on a bunch of restrictions or whatever. And that brings me to the crux of my issue with this simulated difficulty. When simulated difficulty is present, the game is no longer fun. It's not a challenge, it's not engaging, it's not good game design. It's no longer about being able to use what you already have in new and creative ways. It's about punishing you for not having the shiny new characters. And that is something that really upsets me whenever you do these bonus quests. For example, like when we go into these extra floors, right? Extra floors, you'll see here that the perfect character for this is going to be Byakuya. So like you're going to want to use Byakuya. Sure, you could use Sajin in order to do this, but for example, like melee resistance, so you actually have to use a ranged unit, right? So you have that. Sure, you have like some other characters that you can use, but like for the most part, there's one unit that overwhelmingly stands above all the rest. Next floor, okay, so like the boss is going to be Nell, and the perfect unit's going to be the new Okiora that's not even like a month and a half old, right? Next floor, and then you have another stage specifically designed for Izuru, literally 5 days after he came out, so his individual isn't even out. Fortunately, this Izuru has a lot of matching criterias with some of these other characters, like Koga, who is a premium pool unit, as well as this tag team Shuhei. And then you have here captains, so like obviously Chojuro is going to be the godlike character for this, but like you have people that fit the mold. Fortunately, as KLab continues this trend of character building, we'll be getting a lot more characters that are very, very blatantly together. You'll see here like Yamamoto and Byakuya, like there's not many no affiliation killers, so like adding a quest specifically designed for no affiliation that actually has orbs and stuff is kind of annoying, and it is what it is. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Like you'll see here that the damage increase, technique damage times 2, killer effect times 3, so no affiliation plus 60% damage instead of 20%, and then Soul Reaper affiliation tech attribute times 4. So fortunately the killer is the minuscule advantage here, so you can still use various technique Soul Reaper units, but like that's just it's just an example, right? Another perfect example is going to be floor 18 for Path of Valor. Now, for those that don't have Aronyedo, for those that don't have Sailaporo, Tokinata, those characters actually perform this stage very, very, very well. However, if you don't have those characters, honestly, stuff can become very, very chore-like. Not being able to flash step is definitely a big, big barrier, and honestly, unless the character is really, really busted, you're not going to be able to do crazy things. And it's very unfortunate to see people get stuck on floor 18 for Path of Valor, floor 20 when it comes to Tower of Ordeals. It is what it is. And I know that Transcendence definitely helped open the doors for a lot of characters, but that doesn't change the fact that these stages, for example, are, I don't want to say poorly. No, they're poorly designed. They're literally meant to frustrate you instead of actually like have fun. Like, for example, one of my favorite things in extra stages for Senkaimon were the flash step stages for Yoruichi, where you actually would ideally like a sprinter with long stride unit, right? And even then, if you don't have Yoruichis or Soifons because you're a new player, you're probably not going to be able to clear them. And now to finish it off, now I don't think Transcendence Zone is as overwhelming as floor 20, but it sure as hell is simulated difficulty. My first run through on Extreme took over 4.5 minutes with my max Transcended Flyzen. My next run through trying out Oetsu because his Vortex ended up at 3 minutes exactly. These are the times I start to question and become genuinely disappointed in KLab. The endless packs are optional, they don't bother me that much. New content may be slow, but it's usually decently fun. I've enjoyed the hell out of Senkaimon Epic Raids and now the new Guild Quest, but this is making content for the sole purpose of selling a specific unit. This is when BBS stops being fun and starts to become nothing more than a chore and a cash trap. Now, I did make several videos, I want to say the 2 videos that I made on Transcendence Zone were specifically like bashing the Transcendence Zone. Sure, the rewards were great, but like the overwhelming presence that you want Yamamoto for the sake of this one specific mode because no one else does what he does. Literally no one else does what he does, right? Because like that 80% dodge rate can be frustrating, so that runs are like 3 minutes to 4 minutes depending on the type of character you're using. But if you have Yamamoto, you're able to clear the same run in the span of a minute while autoing just because he actually bypasses the dodge mechanic. Mind you, if you don't have Yamamoto, you might have an annoying time when it comes to the Transcendence Zone. I know that it's gone now, but like this is what I'm getting into. However, if you do pull Yamamoto, the funny thing is when Transcendence Zone comes back, even if they make it tech units only, all they need to do is change the no affiliation enemies that you were facing with Yamamoto, change that to hollow, and congratulations, your Yamamoto, now that read no affiliation dodges, is completely useless because they don't really release characters with dodge rate anymore. And that's one of the things that really bugs me about this game. I don't think that this game is necessarily bad. I don't think that they've been too bad, but I do want to show you guys something. Alright, so going into KLab stock, you'll see that they actually go for 949 yen. Keep in mind that over the last 5 years, they've actually been plummeting, right? So you'll see that they actually skyrocketed all the way up to 2,300 yen, July 14, 2017, and this is around the time that 1,000 Year Blood War came out, and you'll see that they progressively got weaker and weaker and weaker as a company. Like you see the Rona actually hit over here, brought them all the way down to 511, so that would have been a nice time to, you know, cash in and buy some KLab stock. However, because after like their annual report, you'll see that their stock went from like 633 yen, which is like $6, $7 per share. It's now all the way up to 90%. So if you invested into KLab stock over here at 633 JP yen before their little report, you'll see that you would have made a nice chunk of change. You would have gotten like a 50, maybe 40 to 45% return on your investment, which is honestly not bad. But like one problem that I see is that when it comes down to it, the problem with their stock going so high in comparison to like what it's usually, right, over the last 5 years, you'll see that it's been stagnant, very low for the last like 2 years in general. My problem with this is it gives them more incentive to milk the whales as much as possible, and I don't think that what they're doing is necessarily good for the community. I do think that this game is very free to play friendly, but I don't think that this game is pay to play friendly, which I think it should be. I think that you should be guaranteed a banner character if you spend like 500 paid orbs, like $80. Like I don't think $80, bro. Like, dude, you can get ahead from like maybe 8 to 10 crackhead like for $80. Like realistically speaking, like I'm not joking. Is bonkers. I mean, it's bonkers. And like KLab is expecting that for a 585 pack where you're not even guaranteed a banner, bro. My boy literally did 900. He did $900 for the this 50 million downloads banner, bro. And he got lucky. He even said he's like, oh, I was lucky, bro. 25 multis. He finally got his Kisuke. For those that watched the video, he did get his Kisuke after all. But like, I mean, it is what it is. Like, I don't think that it's worth that much money for a character that you're only gonna. I mean, you're gonna use Kisuke a lot, but $1,000, bro. $1,000? You serious? I don't know about that, Chief. But I'm going to leave it at that. You know, guys, grind on, catch up, pick me up, stay blessed. Shout out to the boy Riddler. I do actually really enjoy this post a lot. Did I not upload it? Oh, I didn't. Oh, yeah, I wasn't logged in. That's why. Yeah, I think that this is a very, very, very good post. Like I said, I will leave it in the link down below. Yeah, I mean, if you guys want to see like a podcast style, I feel like we haven't done a podcast in so long. Like, grouping people up for that has been like, I don't want to say annoying, but it's just really hard to work out schedules, right? Like, everyone's busy. Yeah, like honestly, like, grouping people up and trying to find the schedule time zones and stuff so that everyone can, like, chill out and just, like, hang out. It's really hard to do that. Like, for example, getting even Rawad to sit down for, like 10-20 minutes to record the skit that we did, right? That, honestly, like, he went way out of his way because he's actually really, really busy with school. So yeah, gotta support the boy, you feel me? But I'm gonna leave it at that. You guys, grind on, catch up, him up, stay blessed. Like, comment, subscribe. You know, if y'all enjoyed this video. I know that this is longer than my normal videos. I know that this might not be interesting to a lot of people, but I really do enjoy the discussion of Bleach Brave Souls. But I'm gonna leave it at that. You guys, grind on, catch up, him up, stay blessed. Like, comment, subscribe if you're new. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Let me know what you guys think about these types of videos. Maybe I'll make them more often. This is the type of content I like talking about because it's like I love to talk. But I'm gonna leave it at that. Stay blessed, y'all. See y'all next one. Peace.